Hello, welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program, where I've just reloaded KSP, but hopefully for you it's not been too many days. Under normal circumstances, with a KSP being broken like that, I would be tempted to reload the game, but and redo the launch. But yeah, it's a cheat mission, and let's see. When was that mission? It was this one. At 6,000 something credits, we can certainly afford just to build a new one. Let's do that, and let's try to launch again in a day or so. Meanwhile, we have, let's see, this escape is of no concern to us. And we have in 2 hours checking off the next and final communication satellite. So let's do that next. Actually, it's 3 hours only. Well, this pad is still reconditioning. Pad C has been reconditioned and as always has a rescue mission on standby. So that's okay. We still have a lot of these. We will have to do something about them. Maybe catch some more rescue contracts. Let's quickly check. Rotate the crew of Moon Station. Not today. That's about it. There are currently no rescues from Kerbin orbit. So let's go there. Right? Yeah. Although maybe we'll check a little earlier because this capture burn is also just around that time. Let's have a look at this satellite. And maybe just check. I don't know. I don't think I actually showed the method I used to align them. So basically, in the MacChip window, I added the phase angle to the target and to display. And since I have the one of the other comsats targeted, this tells me I'm still 1.2 degrees off of my ideal position. And since I'm in a perfectly 1 hour orbit, 1 degree equals, so 1 hour orbit is 60 minutes, and that's 360 degrees by 60 minutes. That's 6 degrees per minute. 1 degree, that's about 15 seconds or so. 1.2, maybe 12 seconds. And since our actual orbital period is 2.5 seconds faster than the hour, we know that it's a couple more orbits, 4 or 5 more orbits until we reach our final phase angle. So that's pretty much how I work it out. I just basically eyeball it, bring myself to either the 90, 180 or 270 degree position relative to the number 1 satellite, which was launched first. By yeah, just having my orbit a little bit off and drifting into position, just like you would do for real-life satellites. And having checked that, we know now that this one can go a little later. Well, we will just check later after the after this burn. And we know we don't have to hurry too much or worry too much about it. Let's fast forward to this capture burn, and which will also have the corresponding return burn. I will leave the alarm there just so I don't forget about it. But I don't want to see that. And let's do this capture burn. Exactly the same as the one before. Execute next node. Again, one pilot and 2 tourists. Pretty much the same situation. Come on. Okay. Focus on Kerbin. Let's check that the return burn is also roughly there. 42. That's a little bit. And execute the return burn. Okay, burn looks good. Fine tuning, and now we just need to add our usual re-entry notification somewhere around here. Mark this, and let's jump right over to our ComSat. Our phase angle is now down to 180.4 degrees, and that means, let's see, whereabouts are we? Currently at 500, just a little high. Okay. I mean, in principle, that would actually be a perfectly viable, perfectly good position just to circularize here. So maybe let's do that. Let's go prograde. Set the thrust limit on our engine relatively low so that we can do a short burn. All we want is go up to an hour orbital period. Come on. Like this. And now we can shut down the engine. We still have 288 meters per second. That's not enough to deorbit the mission, I think. Don't quite remember, it doesn't matter. And but we will stay in this orbital position for now. So we have here active vessel. Okay, this one is still stashed. They have, what range do they have? 15 gigameters. Okay. At some point in the future we might actually use these antennas, but for now that should be the final position for our last low Kerbin orbit communication satellite. So we can remove this and maybe bring back this training crew. Let's see, they have 700 meters per second left, and they want to perform a re-entry burn here, which has already been set up. So I guess we can just perform this. There's nothing in the way right now. This maneuver we also don't need. Okay, execute, go. And this is one of our usual re-entry preparations. Maneuvers like we use for the solar orbit training missions as well. Let's see, where are we coming down? Oh, we are highly inclined, so it doesn't really matter where we land. We will not get close to the KSC. Minutes, maybe we can accelerate this a little bit. Let's see, who do we have on board here? 3 scientists. Oh, was this a crew exchange with the moon station? Probably. And we also carry a lot of data here. Let's see. Surface sample, whatever. Oh, that was for a mission. Okay. Any science to do here? No. All of you have orbit around Minmus and a flyby. You even have an orbit around Kerbin. And you have nothing. Interesting. Why do you have nothing? Well, you already have recorded, not sure whether you can see it, let me close this. So she has orbit around Kerbin and plant flag on Minmus already recorded, so that's not a problem. And now to get back my window. Yeah. A little bit to go on this burn. We can also already arm the parachutes. Anything in here? No. They should have a couple supplies left for just a day, so we can't go back out to Minmus. We have to capture and re-enter if possible. We have to get at least below moon orbit, which we already are, so we are definitely safe. Oh, this note is wandering all over the place. Oh, that's because of this antenna. Why is there only one of these? Bring me to retrograde, please. Who's flying? Okay. Qualified pilot. .76 kilometers. We can already retract the panels. And let's just do the re-entry. Music change indicating we are now in the atmosphere. Anything we could do here? No. Let's see whether we come over the desert. Don't remember whether I have all the sights from high above the desert. Looks like this craft doesn't have anything to do there. Oh, let's observe. Why is this angle so weird? Okay, that's better. RCS ports are glowing hot, but the tank is still okay. I don't mind the RCS ports so much, but the tank, losing the tank is always, I don't know, it doesn't feel right with the stability of the craft. Yeah, we will lose those RCS ports. Probably. Oh, come on. Wow. But there's no cheating enabled, so no temperature tags, anything. That was probably as close to exploding as I've ever been. Well, for the RCS ports. Let's just burn the rest of the fuel. But we are past the worst of the heating. And this design with the rounded tank and the engine there is just so much more aerodynamic than the other design with the more flat engine. It's taking so much longer to brake. Amazing. I mean, normally when I come in equatorial, it's not so noticeable. But like our air purposes was around here, right? And it's just, well. Oh, that's the workshop thing, okay. They do get a small tour of the nightly sights of this continent. Hopefully they will slow down enough before the parachutes are released. In fact, let's help this a little. Okay, now we are subsonic. The parachute should now be fine. Unfortunately, they won't get any of the achievements for high altitude landing because surface level is not that high, but well. Oh. And we could even take a surface sample here. Who will get the honor? You. Take surface sample. As anything else? EVA report, nothing new to learn there. Good, go back. Actually, maybe Kirk as well, just in case they don't have the Kerbin EVA yet. Everybody of them gets a quick EVA here. And that's pretty much all they can do right now, so let's recover them. Nine experiments recovered, that includes most of the science they brought back from Minmus, which should give us some contracts. And where's the surface sample? Minmus, Kerbin Highland, 0.1 science, excellent. Recovered part of the vessel, quite decent amount. And no XP gained because probably they all had their XP already assigned at the Minmus station. However, quite a number of achievements here. Oh right, that was the crew that went first to the moon and then to Minmus. Yeah, that's a lot of... Although, Kerbin orbit docking? When? Why? Oh, that was a lot earlier. Denzel has been on the station for a while. Excellent. That's research 2, research 6. Okay. Let's check the contracts. We completed the one of the simple ones, and that is the one which was the important one, getting the telescope observations back from Minmus, which unfortunately cannot be radioed back, but have to be transported. Which is why we now have a lot more science. Let's see whether we get a new one of that kind. Now, where was this? I still... missed it. These would be easy, but... well. I don't want to bore you with that. We still have to do all of the Minmus landings. No. All of these. Units. Just acquire them. It doesn't say we have to bring them back. Which means going to the moon and mining some. Interesting. I didn't know these contracts existed. Yeah, I don't want to move that satellite. Expand this station with a lot of liquid fuel and 18 Kerbals. That's not happening. A lot more tourist missions, and nothing interesting here. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's check the astronaut complex. We've reduced the number of people in orbit to 16 now. 3 on the Minmus station. Valentina, 3 on the moon station. Then 1, 2, 3 on this Minmus vessel. And the debris cleaning mission, 1 training mission and 2 tourist missions. On this side, most of the people are now 3-star. Dieter still needs to go to land on Minmus. That on my list? Yes. I may have to fix my lists because I don't think I have cleaned them up recently. So Tanoli also still needs to land on Minmus. Let's see, Didos and Tanoli are on the list, yes. Shepton, what are you missing? You need to go orbit around the moon, and unfortunately you can't fly tourists there because you're not a pilot, so it wouldn't count. Helfred also needs to go to Minmus. You need to go to solar orbit, as well as you. Baker, Dancer. You also need to go to solar orbit. Maxon needs to go to Moon and Minmus. You need to go pretty much anywhere. Both Moon and Minmus here. Another one to go to pretty much anywhere. Petri only needs Minmus, and you need to go to the moon. Well then, although I'm not sure whether I will actually send you to the moon because of those of this terrible stupidity, but let's pilot. Well then, let's check out science. What can we maybe purchase? We can't purchase these nodes, and we can't purchase these nodes, which already that node, oh that's this thing, okay. We could potentially buy one of these. Spectra, leading to more of this. Advanced Metalworks, Moscone. The attachment point, still its locking port with a lamp, and the winch actually, yeah. The big girder and the shielded docking port, so that's not too bad. Large volume containment, of course, also interesting. I think this one also affects the size of tanks, procedural tanks we can do. And the node that I have been shying away from for a while, the nuclear propulsion one, because it just changes the game so much. Let's see, subsonic, that's just propellers and more flight things. That's supersonic, and again more flight things. Possibly interesting if we were to build spacecraft from the aircraft parts. And we definitely need the crew cabin and the cockpits and the containers and stuff. Heavy aerodynamics, big aircraft parts. This would allow bigger fairings, which is also interesting. Some more wheels and the heavy landing legs. Even more wheels and parts which I don't want to see. That's not necessary. Let's see, that one now has some parts from Umbra. For 2 crew. Doesn't have RCS, so not really attractive. And this one is the landing module. Doesn't have engines or any fuel containers, but You'll have to check those later. I'm considering getting the big command pod just because it just facilitates different designs. And that might be an option. I mean, until now we've been using these small capsules. The scanning tag. Oh, I skipped this node for some reason. Yeah, the Sentinel, I didn't want that for the moment. And these, yeah. Okay, this we can't afford. What's here? Unmanned technology, which would give us more MagJab options and a couple probe cores. More solar panels, which might be interesting. I don't think this node oh, it does upgrade our batteries, our procedural batteries, because it has the vanilla 1K battery that affects the operation of the procedural mod. Oh well. Let's say, why don't we go for large? I mean, I would like to get large volume containment next, but again, if we do that, we would be stuck here. If we really need some of the other part for the mission we are planning, we had no choice but to grind more signs. Which probably isn't too bad, considering we have both of these stations doing just that. Let's visit them. If we can get more than 150 signs from them, so we are above 600 total, then I will spend 300 on one of the nodes. Otherwise, I'm afraid I will have to keep that in reserve. Let's see, you have 120 signs stored, sure. Transmit. How's the supply situation? A year, that's good. And we have plenty of craft here actually. Let's see, monopropellant is mostly in these tanks. This one still has liquid fuel. And we have some of these which we don't need, and these are all topped up, and I believe we probably even have some in here. Let's see, can I get somebody to open this? No. Can you open it from there? Inventory, yes, there are still 2 full supply packs in this one, and there's no container here. But that's already 2 full supply packs. And does this have anything? No. And probably this one does not have either. Okay. It has, however, some stored data. Do we have signs stored anywhere else here? Yes, we do. And this container, there's also some stored data. Which we cannot process, so we might as well transfer it there. Where have I clicked now? Lines from there to the crew capsule and transfer it all. So this has all been transferred. Why didn't I just transfer all the signs? No, apparently I did not. Let's try again. Oh, well, it's already transmitting that bug again. Probably because I EVA'd during the transfer or something. Come on. Yeah, well, let's see. Maybe we can do something with Minmo Station instead. At least this bug I've known before. You have a lot more, so let's actually transmit this science and wait for it to upload completely. %. 70. %, and science has arrived there. Good. And this one is down to 0. Okay. So let's try to go back to the moon again. Maybe it works now. Yes, it's transmitting again. So let's hope this arrives. $114 transmitted and 0 here. Good. And we achieved something. Data from the moon. Okay. So now we should have over 700 signs now. Hopefully. Yes, just barely. We could even get one of the more expensive nodes, of course, but I don't think we need those. Not this one. This one has 40, 100, 130 gigameter antennas. That's nice, but we're not going to the outer planets yet. We don't need these probe cores, and that's all which are available. So let's instead get large volume containment. I do want to be able to build bigger tanks. That still leaves us with enough to decide for one of the others, should we need them urgently. I don't think we need any of those urgently. The batteries might be relevant. Let's get this. Research. 9 days, 2 hours, something. Good. Next thing on the agenda is another burn of the orbital debris cleaning. We'll probably have one of these each mission now, or each session. And I should have known MacJeb was messed up in the last episode when it failed to plot this node. But yeah, execute, go, remove, and then we will fine tune after this. Okay, let's see what the fine tuning is. 2 meters, yeah, sure. Unfortunately, this will mean we will meet up in the dark, but Lispro is really doing heroic efforts here, collecting all of these debris from Kerbin orbit and not just cleaning up the Kessler, but also just making sure we are not running into any severe lag. 11 meter burn, we will need to reduce this by at least 0.5, preferably 0.6 actually. Execute and go, 11 minutes. We should maybe furnish her with really a better craft. The life support situation is also still okay, 40 days left. And we could always resupply. Although the Kerbin tank, where she is dropping off all the construction parts, material kits, does not have a supply storage. It would have to be a resupply mission from the surface, but we have all of these rescue missions waiting, so plenty of ships to go out. Let's go to the target. That's a minute away, that's good enough. Oh, let's see, let's turn this upright, roughly like this. Get closer and collect more material kits. Before this thing crashes into our solar panels. Kaboom. 300 on board now. Let's see, what's the next one? This one is, so we are on a 86 by 80 kilometer orbit. This is on a slightly higher orbit, which makes it quite a decent target. Let's see, maybe this time? Yes, no, maybe? In 2 hours, yes, that looks like a decent rendezvous burn. And we do have a time slot there, so let's keep this note. Let me check the clock. I think that's enough for a single episode. And we can do more in the next one. For today we achieved quite a little bit. The final circularization of the satellite, the orbit satellite and relay thing. And a lot more to come in the next episode. Until then, have a nice day, have a nice time. Goodbye.